presenter today. So this is going to be an interesting session. I hope it can be a bit interactive. I have now hosted about, I don't know, somewhere around 260 or so of these sessions. And I've learned a lot along the way. And so unfortunately, Josh isn't able to be here with us today. And so I am going to be taking the helm and teaching you all some of the things that I have learned. Now, do I have preparation for this? No, but the good thing is that I have honestly absorbed so much knowledge that I can probably answer a lot of your questions. We are a funnel here on Digital Boost. And so we're going to get through this together. And I hope that you guys will all just give me a little bit of love, some aroha, and see what we can pull out of the hat today. Okay, so here we go. So this session is being streamed live on all of our channels, LinkedIn, Facebook, YouTube, and we're here on Zoom. And what I thought I might start out with was some of the tools that I really love. So in my day-to-day, I use lots of digital tools. And as I've been going along this session, I've been developing my own business in the background. And I've kind of taken some of the advice that I've been getting from all of the folks out there in the digital space and just putting it all into my shopping cart, as I like to say, like where I'm wheeling it around, I'm finding new things of value. And then as I either find something new that I like a little bit better, and so I take something out of my cart and put that back up on the shelf, put the new item in. So one of the tools that I really love to use, and I use it daily, is Trello. We've talked about it a lot. Trello boards are basically like Post-it notes for yourself, but with the environmentally friendly aspect that you don't use paper. So basically on Trello, you have a number of lists that you can create. And within those lists, you can have cards. Each card can have links to a number of things. So you could link it to documents in your drive. You can link it to photographs. You can link it to pretty much anything. You can put a link in there, and it allows you to have one place that you can go and see what your next steps are, or at least make a checklist for yourself so that you're like, okay, I'm going to structure the activities that I need to do for my business over the next 3 months. So I'm going to create cards for that business. And as I finish an activity, I can move it over. So it allows you to create a card. You'll have one list that might be to do. Your second list might be currently in action. And your third list might be this is the final, I've finished this job. So you'll start your card, list all of the important information in that card, and then you can move it over when you're starting to work on it. You can write in all of the steps that you've taken when you're in progress, and it timestamps it. So there's no more of that having to write, oh, I emailed on this date, and blah, blah, blah. Now, a lot of us are one-man bands or mom and pop shops, so we don't have a team, but if you had a team, you could include your team on your Trello cards and easily link it to them. You can assign them tasks, you can assign due dates, all of that good stuff. So it's a super useful tool that I use on the daily to keep track of all of these sessions, really. And in my business, I use it for ideas that I have, for upcoming ideas of things that I want to write and things like that. Okay, cool. We've got a raised hand. I'm going to keep the chat going as well. I'm going to see if I can manage this. Okay, so we've got a comment here. It says, I've just started using Google Rooms, which is free. Do you think this is similar to Trello? Having problems getting team members to check many apps, and being in Gmail seems to give them no excuse not to check. Look, I love this idea. Google actually came on not long ago. They did a session on Google Collaborative Tools, and they talked about so many tools that I didn't even know existed, like Google Jamboard. I didn't even know that you could you could create your own Google site. So if you're a person that just needs like a one pager that talks about your business or who you are, and you just need it as a reference point, you can have a free Google site. You can build it out. It's really cool. So if you've got a Google account, check that out. And I totally agree with what you're saying there, Sue. One of the problems that happens with so many digital tools in this day and age is there can be a thing as too much. Now, I have a friend who's a maximalist. She calls herself a maximalist, and more is more. But when it comes to your team, making sure that you're streamlining your processes and making it as easy as possible for them to take actionable steps and to know where to go is super important. There is nothing more frustrating than having somebody communicate to you on 5 different platforms about the same job. Pick one, work with it, and then move from there. So great little comment there. Thanks for all the support that's coming in because I need it right now. And welcome if you are joining a bit late, it's all good. This session is ad lib. Okay, so the next thing that I'm going to totally recommend is that if you are an e-com business or if you're something like that, make sure that you've got a calendar that you're using. So calendars are great, whether you want to put it in your Google Calendar or whatever, have a schedule for yourself. One of the tips that I do for my social media is I actually sit down once a month currently. I'd like to get to the point where I can block out 3 months because I think that would be really great. I plan out a month worth of social media content that I'm going to do. I write all of the content on that day. I actually use a Google Sheet to do that. You can import images into the Google Sheet, which is cool. So I've got an image of what's going to go up on, Facey or Insta. I've got all of my content. I've got the date that it's going to go out, the time that it's going to go out. I also include all of my hashtags, and I use besthashtags.com, or if you just Google search hashtags for, it'll give you a whole list, and I pretty much just copy those and put them all in there so that when I go to do my social media planning, I can just copy all my text and put it in there. So my business is like I probably shouldn't share that, but I'm an artist myself, so I've got a little thing that I'm working on. It's my project, and I've been using all of the information and knowledge that I've been learning from Digital Boost to kind of start getting that business off the ground. So it's really cool journey for me and to journey with you guys. So that's one tip that I have for planning your content. I would say that it's really important for you to pick pillars. We have talked about this in the past. So pillars for your social media allow you to have enough content. So for me, I don't have this huge library of information that I can pull from, like some big corporations where they've gone out and taken 150 photos, 200 photos. I don't have that. So I picked for my pillars, I've got let's start at the beginning of the week. So Tuesdays, I normally do something on pottery because that's one of my art mediums. Wednesdays, I do an inspirational quote or a question, and I change those each week. So if I ask what is art one week, the next week I might give a quote about art, to engage and inspire and discuss. The next day I have a throwback Thursday, and that's where I'll pull some kind of photo from an archive of some of my art in the past, and I do that. And then on Sunday, I always do some kind of art that's a painting or a drawing or a digital art. And that's how I kind of roll my calendar. Everything else, and this is a good friend, a lady that I met recently, and she's going to be on with us again shortly, Tracy from My Engine Lab. She says you should really always believe in random acts of content. you should do random acts of content. So on the rest of the days, I try to fill them with stories or with, a random post. But I pretty much know that I've got 4 posts coming out a week that I can depend on, which is which is great because it keeps my audience engaged. So we've got a question here and it says, do you have a template on Google Calendar or Sheet that we can use for our social media planning? To be honest, I don't. I actually just I literally just created it myself. It's just like date, time, content, image. And that's all it is. It's not like an actual template. It's just columns. It's pretty standard. And I would recommend, if you're using a lot of platforms, like if LinkedIn is one of your platforms, and you want to be able to share to those, using a social media planner that allows you to share across multiple platforms, including LinkedIn or Twitter, would be recommended. You could use something like Publer, you could use Later, you could use Hootsuite, to name a few. I just use Facebook Business Suite because actually I'm just doing Facebook and Instagram currently. I want to master those platforms before I kind of push out. And with this thing that I'm actually selling, it doesn't make sense for me to kind of have constant content on LinkedIn. This was something that Stanley Henry really drew to my attention from The Attention Seeker that I thought was super useful. And I really hadn't thought about it this way before. He said, if you're on LinkedIn, you're there for business, right? So if you're trying to sell me a dog suit, like something for my dog, I'm not here for that. I'm here to connect with other businesses, or like I'm not here to buy collars for my dogs or jackets for my dogs. And so that's not the right platform for you to sell to those people. So keeping in mind what platforms are good for your business is super important, because otherwise you're just like spending so much time putting your content everywhere and it's really just a waste of your energy. So defining that is going to be about understanding who your audience is. And we know from our sessions with Krupa and all of those folks that having a clear definition of who your audience is super important. And a quote that Stanley actually said to me before, that's not his quote, but he said, if you think that everyone is your customer, then really no one's your customer, because you're not targeting them appropriately. And we need to remember to do that. I'm trying to think of other tools that I use, and I might even have a look. So I'm a big advocate of using, I like to play around with design. I'm not great at it, but I do like to play around with it. So I think that using an app like Canva, or using Design Space, that's our Kiwi app. So that's DZYN and then an actual space and then the word space. That is an app where you can help to work on some of your graphic material. Having consistency in your brand colors and sticking to them is really important. And Canva actually has a really cool feature, and I can see a question coming through and I will answer it, David. If you're not good at color coding, not all of us are really good at figuring out what colors go with what. So if that's not your jam, Canva actually has the ability to help you with that. So if you did have one color, you're like, you know what, I really like this aqua color because I'm in rehabilitation or I'm in tech. We know that people who are in like PT and the tech industry, like the light color blue is really popular in those industries, right? Certain colors go with certain industries, like reds and yellows are a lot with food. If you'll notice, now you'll start to look around and be like, oh, that's interesting, with like fast food chains and stuff. So if you had a color that you really liked, you can pick that color in Canva and it will give you complementary colors. So then you can make up your palette. There are also things that you could Google color palettes for businesses, and it will give you some options. And that will give you these color codes. They're normally like it'll be like a hashtag and a few letters. And if you just take those colors, you can pop them in and customize your colors in things like Canva and keep them on save them and use them consistently. So when I do my quotes or my inspiration, I have certain colors that I use for that, and they're a part of my brand colors. Now, my brand colors are outrageous. And what I learned from the guys over at Run, which is they're up for so many awards, a gorgeous marketing agency, graphic designers, real artsy. They had a great session. Well, they're really like artsy. They said, don't be afraid to be bold with your colors. And I really took that to heart, because a lot of people in pottery and things like that, they really like the natural tones, but that's not my style. You know, my style is more graffiti art, or more, you know, I like vibrancy in life. And so I've picked some outrageous colors for my brand, but they all go together because I made sure they were in the same color wheel. Okay, so let's have a look at some of these questions. It's saying, what's the benefit of hashtags? Okay, the benefit of hashtags, and it's not across all platforms, but the benefit of hashtags is that people search by hashtag. So you can search by a person, you can search by like a region, by a topic. People also search by hashtags on platforms like Instagram and on TikTok, which is, look, I'm just getting on board with TikTok and learning how to use it. I'm not a spring chicken, and I didn't jump on in the beginning, but they are going hard and strong. They're going to have shops on there. They've done, they're integrating with Shopify. It's huge. And I kind of feel like if we don't get on board with TikTok, we're going to be missing out on some trains. You know, they're doing a huge launch here in New Zealand. I attended a seminar the other day. I'm just figuring out how to use the platform, but we can all learn together. I actually have Andrea Bosey coming on. He is a visual marketing specialist, and he's going to be talking about TikTok for your business. And that's coming on either this month or next month. So it should be really cool. So that's the benefit of hashtags, is that people could find you maybe organically, or maybe wouldn't have found you before. And it's really easy to Google search hashtags and then just pop them in underneath your content. If you're somebody who has a lot of the time on their hands, I don't, you can put your hashtags in your comment section underneath your post. So if you don't like the aesthetics of having the hashtags like right underneath your content, just pop it in underneath in your comment section, and people will still be able to search for that. Okay, so how to spell the app? Oh, which app? Let me know. Oh, is it for Canva? I'm not sure. Let me know. If it's Canva, it's Canva. You can check that. And that is, if you type in like best hashtags, they have some really good ones, I think. Yeah. And then I also like to try and think of some relevant businesses that might be interested, or I might align with. I think that like collaborations are some of the best ways to expand your brand. I call it cross-pollination, actually. So because I'm an artist and I'm trying to do my thing, you know, I might not want to bring another artist on. Maybe I do on a project, a collaborative project, or a collaborative marketing strategy. But it'd be really cool if I picked, maybe I'm making teapots, or I'm making teacups, and then I find somebody who makes tea, and then we come together and we do a promotional event together. And that's a really cool way for me to touch a market that I didn't have before, and them to touch a market that they didn't have before. And by doing that, we both benefit, but we don't take from each other. And cross-pollination is totally a great way to expand your business profile. I worked on some projects with QT Hotels when I was with another business called Studio Red Wellness. And we did some really great cross-pollination between health and wellness, because that's a part of their pillars, and making, you know, that stuff accessible to the studio. So it was great for the studio, but it was also great for QT Hotels. Everybody was a winner. Yeah. And they did some work with No Ugly. So No Ugly, QT Hotels, and Studio Red Wellness all came together to create a collaborative project, a collaborative event as well, where it featured collagen cocktails, so non-alcoholic cocktails, for wellness. We had the yoga and all of that stuff for wellness, and QT's hotels facility. And that was one of their pillars is wellness. So have a think about your business and who you might be able to seek out to in your community or online that you could work with together in order to kind of expand your reach a little bit more organically, because we do know that that is where we get the most retention, is that organic reach, but it's super hard to do online. It's pretty much non-existent these days. Okay, we've got some new things happening here. It says, would Canva or Design Space replace Photoshop? Are they quite advanced? Oh no. Okay, so Photoshop is like, if you're using Photoshop, you are amazing, because there's so many options there. I don't know what I'm doing. Photoshop, I don't know if it has the ability to help you out with brand colors and do that kind of stuff. In Photoshop, I don't think you have the ability to push your design straight out onto your social media accounts, which is an option with Canva. So, you know, Photoshop is great if you're techie, you want to do some really cool stuff with your designs. I'd say, like, if you're more of a beginner, using Design Space, and that's DZYN, Design Space or Canva, is like really beginner friendly, super intuitive, lots of tutorials on how to use it, and stuff like that. Photoshop is, you know, if you can learn how to use it, awesome. I'd love to get it. You do have to pay for Adobe as well, where you can use a lot of the Canva features and the Design Space features for free. So that's another aspect of it there. But I'm sure there's more capabilities on Photoshop if that's your jam. Okay, I've just started to create a DM calendar via Excel just to map out all the text, parameters, target audience, dates, length of campaign. It doesn't contain any visual, just a collation, okay, of info around the promotion, no design as yet. Yeah, cool, that's awesome. I mean, that's the framework. I think one of the things that I've learned from so many of these experts is that if you go in and you just, they call it, this is a really terrible terminology, but they call it pray and spray, or spray and pray, I think they call it, which it's just like just throwing a whole bunch of stuff out there and just like hoping that some of it sticks and some of it, you know, works for you. That strategy, I've been told so many times over and over again, it just is not going to work for you. So don't do that. Like, take the time. I've got a little journal, and one night I just kind of sat there and I just did some mind mapping, and I went, here's my business, like, here are my goals or what I want to achieve. Here are my values, you know, who's in line with what I'm doing, you know, who would be interested in what I'm trying to put out there. Yeah. And just defining that, like, what does that person look like? And what I've heard and what I think really helps is actually like giving that person a name. You know, I think it was Jason Tiller and Amanda Livingston, I presume, from Quick Brown Fox, that basically said, you know, make this person a real person, know who they are, what they do, you know, and then figure out how to target them. Yeah. What is appealing to that person? Remember that you are not your customer. Okay, so the way that you look at your stuff is not necessarily the way your customer will. Okay, cool. Can't wait for the imagery to come through. Great idea. Presently considering SEO and link building. So website is awesome. Yes, so this is where this collaboration stuff comes in place too. So SEO, we are going to have a session on backlinks and the importance of backlinks with Vanessa Minkley, I believe is her last name, from 369 Collective. And she's going to be talking about the importance of backlinks. Now, if you don't know what backlinks are, it's basically when backlinks, let's start with this. Backlinks give you authority. So you are an expert. It's generally when somebody else has kind of referenced you. A lot of it occurs through blogs or stuff in the media. So when people search, you know, best what would it be? Maybe now I'm going to draw a blank. Best tips for artists or something. Maybe I've written an article on that and it was featured in Stuff magazine, or it was featured in Remix, or I put it on my website and another artist saw it and they were like, oh, I really like that. And they shared it on their social media. When people are Googling or they're searching and they start to see you pop up, these are those backlinks. And you can do that a lot with like collaborations where it kind of expands your search. Interviewing people. I know recently we had this thing in Auckland called Art in the Park. And it was, people were so friendly there, and you could just go around and just be like, hey, I'm going to write an article on art in the park. And my question is, why is art important to you? And people were really happy to answer that question. And then I can take that information. I can write an article. I can reference them, you know, if they're happy to be a part of it. And then I can put that up on my website, and then it links to their website. And then this all starts to create this authority, but it also starts to create that really good SEO kind of generation where you're popping up more and more everywhere. So I think it can be a little bit daunting. There are so many ways so many touch points, they like to call it, so many ways we can kind of get out our name out there. So maybe pick your strengths. If writing is not a strength for you, maybe get some help with it, pair up with somebody who's really good at writing and you do a different aspect of it. Work to your strengths always, and see if you can find other people to help out with some of the other areas that you don't feel as strong in. Okay, so been using MOZ to analyze competitor websites for, oh, really? Okay, we've talked about this, websites for what keywords they are using. I'll take the best and improve, repurpose. Really interesting who is succeeding and not, and why so my website is the best. Great tool to contrast and compare to gain insights about your industry. Can you drop that link in the chat, Lara, to that website, and or even drop it here and I'll copy paste it into the chat, because I think actually if you put in the chat, I can't copy paste it. That would be amazing. Yeah, and I can recommend somebody for writing. I can recommend a couple people. So one of the folks that I highly recommend for writing is Amanda Livingston, I presume. Sorry, I can't not do that when I say her name. She works for Quick Brown Fox, and she's really, you know what I like about the way that she writes in the sessions that she's done? She's super strategic in the way that she writes, concise and strategic. That's a hard one. She said that copywriting is basically 75% strategy and 25% writing. And that to me was super interesting, because I've always thought, oh, just having the best vocabulary or having great grammar, having so important. But, you know, it's really, that was super interesting to me. So putting the thought in first. So Amanda Livingston, I presume, I'll stop doing that. I'm sorry, I can't help it. And who did I speak with lately? I spoke with a fabulous lady. I will find out that information for you. There was another lady, but a great resource, and I'll pop it in here, is Fiverr. So you can go onto Fiverr, it's in the chat, and you can find people like copywriters, graphic designers, things like that. It's a great place to find people along that route. You could also, because I know they have a lot of freelancers on their payroll, I guess you would say. If you contact Rocket Spark, I'm sure they will give you a recommendation, because that's where I got Amanda Livingston's information. And yeah, so I would totally recommend that. So great idea, presently considering SEO and link building. So website is awesome. Yes, look, one key thing to remember about SEO is we build it over time, right? But also it's really important to remember, and this was something I learned lately. So if you weren't in on those sessions, it's not about SEO per se, but it's about you can lose SEO. Like if you change your from one website builder to another website builder, you actually will drop in your ranking. So just, just be conscious of that. That's something I didn't know. So and it kind of blew my mind. I was like, what? We've done all this work. So just know that. And there was a great session, and I think I featured it in the weekly comms last week with Richard Conway from Pure SEO. The guy's like the SEO god or guru of SEO or something. He included a template to work with, and you can get that on the website. So if you click on the link from either last week's email, or if you go to the search function on the Digital Boost website, type in Pure SEO, it'll come up because it's the only session we did with him. And it has actually a spreadsheet underneath template that you can download. It'll really help. His session was amazing. He's got, I think, some other free resources on his site as well. I was blown away by that talk. So do check that out. Anyone for writing? Okay, I did that. Anna, oh, there it is. Thanks. So that's analytics. I'm copying that. I'm putting in the thing. So we were just talking about looking at other people's sites, and Lara's popped that link in there. So I've popped it in the chat for you there. Okay, thanks so much. Google Sites isn't strong in keywords, linking in SEO because it's aimed at Google Ads over organic search. Interesting. Thanks, Dean. I didn't know that. I guess I was thinking about using Google Sites for more like if you want to, you just need a landing page for somebody to go to. That's kind of what I was thinking about it more than your actual like, oh, this is my website for my whole business. But because some of us, like this role that I'm in, like as a presenter, like I might just need a page to send somebody to that's just there right now. And that can be like a cool free option for people if they're just getting started or whatever they're doing. But I love that you've dropped that in because I didn't know that. So how about videos? Okay, so look, I've got your back. I'm just going to tell you, I'm here for you. So videos, we have Andrea Bosey coming on. He's going to do a segment with us on how to create like 6 hours worth of video content in an hour on your phone. It's going to be crazy. He is a visual expert, but I do know that you can use ClipChamp. I'll drop it in the chat. So ClipChamp is an app. It's totally free. You can take okay. So I've been playing around with Reels. I think Reels are really fun. Well, I'm getting into them. I feel like I've dropped 10 years since I've started using Reels. Can you tell? No, I'm just kidding. So Reels on Instagram are super popular and people love them. And so I've been kind of playing around with that. And it allows you to collate a whole bunch of videos together and add music and add stickers and all of that stuff if you didn't know. But there's a time length on building those. And there was a project that I was working on a while back, and I thought, well, maybe I'll just use Reels and save it to my phone and then send it out that way. But it didn't allow me to do the full thing. And I've used iMovie before, and I have some trouble with the way that it formats the actual images. Like you have to make sure it's all like not always the whole image on your phone fits into their program. So like your head might be cut off, so I was looking for something else, and somebody recommended ClipChamp to me. You can really just drop all of your videos from your phone in there. You can add music, you can do heaps of stuff. It's free. I totally recommend having a play around with it. I've used it for a few times now, and I really think it's a cool thing to play around with. But if you want to, I still would recommend you tuning into Andrea Bosey's session. He has a bunch of sessions coming up, and even find him on LinkedIn. He's really cool. He does a lot of work with video, and he's a lovely guy. So we're going to have him on, and he's going to teach us heaps. So that'll be amazing. So that's what I recommend there. ClipChamp. I'm not sure if you can do videos in Canva. I think you might be able to. Where can I find that SEO template? Tried to search SEO, but nothing came up. Did you search, if you're on the Digital Boost website, go to the search function and type in pure SEO, or type in just SEO, it should pull up all the videos that we have on it. And you're going to be looking for a Q&A session called with Pure SEO, Richard Conway. And once you click on that video, what happens is it takes you to another page where you can watch the video, and underneath the video, there's a PDF file. It should be there. If it's not there, I'm going to be so disappointed, because I made sure to send that through. So please let me know if it's not there when you search using those kind of specifics, because it should be. And we even contacted him specifically to ask him if we could use that material. And I think his PDF is there as well. If it's not there, let me know. Now, I think I'm trying to think of what else I use. I also want to be conscious of time. I haven't been able to jump over to any of the other platforms, because I'm obviously running this session winging it, and thank you for the support. I got a this is the best winging it I've ever seen. Thank you so much. Look, there's a first time for everything. We were just talking about stories and reels, and one of the cool tools that I heard about recently, because one of the things that annoys me about stories and reels is that you can't pre-plan them, or you used to not be able to. I actually think that Facebook Business Suite has now given you the capability to do that. I think I saw that the other day, double check, but you can use an app called Sked Social, and that's pop it in the chat, SKED, and then social, and that allows you to program stories and stuff like that, so that you don't have to sit there every day doing your social media. Because to me, like, there's nothing more annoying than having to think of what content am I going to do today? Okay, I need to keep people engaged. Like, if there's one thing that I've learned from doing so many of these sessions, is use tech to your advantage so that you can enjoy your life, right? If you love doing that all day, like I definitely have a friend who she literally is on stories all day. I don't know how she pays attention to anything else in her life. I give her so much credit. She's on there all day. It's insane, but that she loves it. That's what she does. That's not me, so I need to figure out systems that work for me, because I like to unplug, and I find that that's really important for my mental health, is to unplug from those things. And if that is something that you experience where you need to unplug, then let's use some of these tools in order to get some of that crucial time, which is a commodity in small businesses. Owning a small business, time is the biggest commodity I think that we have. That's why we're here. We're digitizing to get that time back. I did own a business many years ago, and it was 7 days a week, 24 hours a day. It never stopped. You never took a holiday. You never felt like you got to shut off. And when I sold that business, it felt like such a relief, because I could just not have to worry about it anymore. But you lose some of that control. So one of the brilliant things that's happened now is we have all these tools. And so now I'm like going to enter back into this world with a whole toolkit that's going to help me to not have to do that, which is really cool. Okay, well done, Anamari. This is a big ask of you, and it's been really helpful. I'm so glad that you guys have enjoyed this. I have a lot of, I like literally pick my brain. We're gonna be finished here in a minute, but okay. So still can't find it. Maybe I'm a bit slow. I'm sure you're not. If you can post the link later, that would be great. I have clicked on most of the recent SEO videos. Maybe easier to search if the name of the expert is on the title of summary. Oh, okay. I'm surprised it's not. I will. Can you drop? If you drop it in the Q&A, no one else will see it. If you actually, I'm going to type my answer here. If you email me I will find you that because that'll be the easiest way. And you can always email support. They're on it, you know. Okay. Is Skid Social only for Insta? I don't think so. I think that, that being said, remember that when you schedule a story for Insta, it will push out. If you've got it programmed, it'll push out to Facebook as well. So, you know, if it is only for Insta, you can actually just shoot it out to both. So that's cool. Got that answered. Okay. Thanks for the enjoyable webinar. Lara, look, we're in this together, you know. Yeah, so look, this has been a really ad lib kind of session, but I hope you got value out of it. As I've mentioned, we have a lot of good sessions coming up. It's going to be cool. And, you know, although Josh wasn't here today, I feel like we had a great chat and we had a little bit of maybe a recap on some of the stuff that we've kind of learned over this past, what are we, 9 months now into these Q&As. So I hope that you found benefit in this session. We are here for you. Digital Boost is a funnel, so please reach out if you need support. And I kind of want to finish this session. It's my pleasure. I kind of want to finish this session with just a reminder that where I was just talking about that mental health aspect of being a small business owner, it's one of the things that you really need to stay on top of, making sure that you are giving yourself the support and love that you need to be able to do something like this is super important. And Digital Boost and Clearhead have kind of come together, and all of us who are part of Digital Boost have access to Clearhead. Clearhead is a mental health app. You can put it on your phone, but you can also have it on your desktop. It teaches you skills, whether it's coping skills or self-esteem skills. You can do mental health check-ins. You can access resources to therapists and things like that. And it's all free for you. It's got some kind of fun tools, like there's little short videos from everybody from past rugby players, like All Blacks are on it, to, you know, doctors and professionals. It was started by a doctor who just felt like there wasn't enough resources out there for people, and there was really lengthy time waits to get in to see somebody. And she kind of realized, you know, when you're in that position where you've already hit burnout, getting in to see somebody is, you can't necessarily wait like 3 weeks. So this is a great resource. Take advantage of it. It's totally free for you. It's my pleasure, Dean. Do you have a session on Trello on Digital Boost? Do you know what? I think that we have talked about it in some sessions, but let me say this, Digital Boost has these short bite-sized bits of content, so 2 to 5 minute bits of content. And we have done a session on Trello. I wanna say that I was even the presenter in that, so it might have been me. So if you look up Trello on Digital Boost, it should pull up videos. If you don't see one, contact support and I will give you a resource to that. Because Trello is really super easy to use, and I would open mine up, but it's actually got confidential stuff in there, and I wasn't prepared to make another board, so I apologize. So great idea. Yes, please. Okay, cool. Very practical. Excellent help. Many thanks, Anamari. My pleasure. My pleasure. Yep, just signed up for Trello. Yeah, it's free. Hey, it's free. It's super easy to organize your ideas. You don't have to have Post-it notes anymore. And I was a big lover of Post-it notes, and my pleasure. So I guess that's going to be us today. Thanks for joining the Anamari Digital Boost session. Oh, 14, really? Are you sure it's only free for 14 days? I guess you would know because you've just been on there. Have a look, if it's something that you would use all the time, I would look at the pricing because it might be worth your investment. I guess maybe we are on a paid account and I didn't know. I have one for my business though, and I don't feel like I've paid anything for that. I don't know what that's about. So have a look into that. Sorry if I don't have all the answers, but I also don't pretend to. Have a wonderful day, everyone. Aroha nui. Okay. Ka kite, everyone. Have a good day. And tomorrow we will have somebody on. Who is it? Because there was a request, wasn't there? And we were talking about how funny it was that it was going to be tomorrow. How do I get to that? Sorry, one sec. Let's see. Oh, we're going to do Soul Traders Accounting, a deep dive on using Henry with James Fuller from Henry. He's a super insightful guy, by the way. Like, he doesn't just he brings a lot to the table. So I would encourage you, if you've got time, it won't be the Anamari show. Tune in for James's session. He's really cool. Kaki to everyone. See you tomorrow. Bye.